everyone, and welcome to day 14 of our 31-day minimalism challenge. So happy to have you back here. As we approach the near halfway mark of this challenge, I thought it would be good to talk about how to stop yourself from impulse shopping. There's a lot of people everywhere trying to get you to make purchases. Everywhere you turn, or someone trying to sell you something. So it gets harder and harder to stop yourself from buying. But this challenge has hopefully made you more self-aware of the old habits you had. All of those habits of impulse buying are what got you here. That's what led you to the clutter. What I hope that you've learned so far in this challenge is that in order to live a more intentional life, which is ultimately the goal at the end of this challenge, is to wake up and see what's important. Having set those intentions up front, you've already done the hard stuff. You've done far more than most people have or ever will, just by simply taking the time to reflect, ask yourself the difficult questions. You already know what it's going to take to get you to the life that you want. And I promise you, it's not impulse buying and shopping for things that you don't need. But how do you tell yourself to not shop when for so many years of your life you've developed this habit? You've already set out the intention for your life. So when you get the urge to buy, if the item doesn't align with your life, with the values you believe in, then it's easy. There's your answer. Don't buy it. Naturally, by having intentions and values, you're going to live more minimally. The same goes for adding value. If it doesn't add value, it's useless to you. And this is the one that you need to be the most careful with and really have discernment, because you can talk yourself into anything. That's why you got where you were at the start of this challenge, because you told yourself multiple times an item that you wanted to buy was useful to you. But now here you are donating it. It's most likely that purse that you thought was useful isn't. And where is it now? Today it's in your declutter pile. You have to be really honest with yourself. And just like you're asking yourself these questions every time you hold up an item and determine if you're going to declutter it, the same thing is going to apply every single time you have the desire to buy something. You have to stop yourself and you have to ask, does it really add value, or are you just trying to give yourself an excuse to consume? This one is probably the most important. If it's going to make you go into debt, don't buy it. One of the best things about minimalism and creating a life of intention is the freedom that goes along with it. Freedom from stuff, because remember, our stuff owns us most of the time. And then freedom from having credit card debt just doesn't make financial sense to spend resources you don't have in order to acquire more stuff. So if you can't afford it, there's your answer. Stop and don't buy it. Have you ever thought about how much time you actually spend shopping? Whether it's shopping in person in a physical store, you have to factor in the driving, the traffic, parking, walking around, waiting in line, not to mention all of the decision making that you do while you're holding up items, trying them on, thinking about them. And then if you're an online shopper, it's probably even worse because everything's at your fingertips. All of a sudden you find yourself wanting an item and then going to 20 different websites to see who has the cheapest price. That's a lot of energy that you are wasting on things that most likely you do not need and are not useful and do not align with your values. Once you finally find the item at the best price, then you start asking yourself, what color do I want? If it's out of stock, I wonder if they'll restock it. How will I live without this? But this is a mental waste of time. End your transaction right there. If you have to go through all of that just to buy an item, it is not worth it. And lastly, the whole point of this challenge for most people is because you want to start living intentionally. You're tired of all of the overconsumption. So that freedom that we just talked about, that's important. Living deliberately and intentionally is even more important. That is the whole purpose behind this. Do you know what's not intentional? Do you know what's not deliberate? Is impulse shopping. There is no purpose behind it. You are giving in to the most basic desire that most humans have, which is to consume more and more and more. Stop wasting your time and your money and giving into that, and go back to what you're striving for right now, which is to live a life of more intention. You're probably going to find out that when you do this just a couple of times, you're going to find that your impulse to buy new things starts to dwindle, and you're not going to notice yourself having those urges as much as you used to. Just like with any habit that we have, it takes a while to break it. We've programmed ourselves to buy whenever we want to buy, but it just takes a little bit of practice. And I believe in you. Stay strong out there throughout this holiday season, and don't forget the feelings you're feeling now as you go through this decluttering process. You're doing this for a reason. You made a promise to yourself to live a life with more meaning so that you can be present for yourself and for those around you. All right, that's all for today, guys. I will see you back here tomorrow for day 15. Until then, don't forget, always keep it simple. Bye, guys.